So could you just both introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about Be Present?
Sure. I'm Tammy Weisweaver, and Be Present Studio is a woman's boutique fitness studio that started in the basement of our home and has grown from there. We have two commercial locations, and Bryan, you want to tell more about it?
Hi guys, I am Bryan Weisweaver, and Tammy and I own Be Present Studio together. And as Tammy had mentioned, we started this in the basement of our home, so it has very humble beginnings. And then we opened up our first official location in a small town called Granger in northern Indiana. And then just this past year, we opened up a second location in a suburb of Indianapolis called Fishers. So that's where we are right now.
Okay, awesome. So how did the idea for Be Present kind of come about? What was your inspiration to create Be Present?
Sure. I've actually really always loved being active, and I've loved health and wellness, and I really actually just didn't think that it was that I could make a full career out of that. And so I decided that I would go to school to become a school teacher, but that also I would get certifications to teach fitness classes on the side. And so that's what I did. And I was teaching fitness classes in the summer, but I realized that I really was not fulfilled in that way by only teaching a few classes a week. And so I decided to really activate faith over fear and just try to just go for it and see what came from it. So really just offering a few classes from our home and not really knowing what would come from it. But then it snowballed quite quickly because we were not just a workout. And so that was a big part of it too, is that I really wanted to help change lives. And I know that working out and being healthy is definitely life-changing. But I also know that there are... Sorry, we're getting another call. I also know that we need to have people change beliefs that they have in their mind and in their heart. So the studio is committed to like mind, body, spirit, really helping people to make changes that will be lasting.
Okay, awesome. And then is a membership required to work out at Be Present?
No, not by any means. So friends, clients, they can come in, just do a single class or whatever works out best for them. They certainly can purchase a membership if they so desire, but no, if they just want to come try and check it out, they can come for a single class as many times as they want.
Okay, and then aside from the fitness classes that you offer, how else do you bring in a profit for Be Present Studio?
Yeah, so aside from the classes, we have personal training so that people can come and do one-on-one. We also have wellness coaching, and we also have a 21-day transformation meal plan lifestyle program that people can take part in. Those are the main ways.
And then one of the other ways is, so we do wellness retreats. That's one of our, as you can see from the background, we are on our own kind of personal retreat right now, and we love to take clients, and people don't even have to be clients, don't have to be clients at Be Present Studio, but we love to take them away to adventurous retreats and really just invest in them and let them invest in themselves. And so that's been another fun, way for us to help generate community and also profit too.
And we also have a retail boutique where we have really cute clothing. We have water bottles. We also offer a few nutritional supplements, and we have some jewelry, some inspirational types of things that people do purchase quite often.
All right, awesome. So how do you go about, like, what makes Be Present Studio unique and different from other fitness studios? Because bar classes are very popular and there are a lot out there. So what makes Be Present different from the other workouts available?
Well, we have got to hear from a lot of our clients who, when they travel, they'll go to other studios and they will message us and say, I am so grateful for what we have at Be Present. I didn't even know how unique it was. And so some of the main differences would be, number one, that we really truly care about every person that's there. It's not just a number, and it is a business. So I guess if we were operating in the red, like, that wouldn't work. But we don't wake up and think of how can we make more money. We really focus on how can we change lives more. And I think that's the biggest difference, is that people really feel that they are cared for, and that they're not just a number, and we're not just wanting to get their money, but we really want to help them live their best lives.
I would add on to that and say that most fitness business models, the focus is we're going to help change you from the outside. And our model is the exact opposite or reverse of that, where we want to help change people from the inside out. So from a heart and a mind level. And that way, it's what Tammy and I would call lasting change. It's not just temporary. One of the biggest, I think, challenges for anyone who's ever tried to get into any type of a fitness routine is that there's typically a trigger or something that kind of lights a fire for them. It could be they're going on a vacation where they're going to be in a bikini, or it could be maybe they just recently went through divorce and they want to lose weight. Those tend to be the things that cause change, or at least the start of change. But for so many people, it's temporary, because we always return to the beliefs of our heart. And if we don't start transforming the beliefs in our heart, then change will always be temporary. And we want change to be permanent for people. And so we get to teach and share that along with the classes that we offer. And so that makes a huge difference. We've got one more here.
And our classes are really challenging. As far as the bar world, there are a lot of classes I've been to where you really don't burn very many calories at all, and you don't even break a sweat. And so our workouts are very challenging too. So people are getting that satisfaction of feeling like they have been, they've given it their all and they don't have anything left to give.
Awesome. So since Be Present is a local business, how do you go about supporting the community around you?
Sure. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to?
Sure. So what we do is we partner with a lot of different charitable organizations. One that we've partnered with for the last number of years is more of a national organization, but they have a really strong local presence, and that is Girls on the Run. It's something we typically support organizations where we have a shared mission, and we just love kind of their mission and their vision, and so we support them with our finances, and then we also support them, with our time and giving back. So that's one of the organizations.
We also have a heart for, in the Granger location anyway, we've given a lot towards the Center for the Homeless. We've also done some special events where we allow our community to partner with us. And so maybe I host a boxing. We did an event called Boxing Out Homelessness. And so each person's $25 fee to take the class, 100% of the proceeds went to the Center for the Homeless. But in addition to that, we also support a lot of the local schools, and people will write to us asking for donations to some of their different auctions, and we'll do 10 class packs or put together little gift bags type of a thing. So yeah, those are some of the ways. And I am, never mind, this is not out of the bag yet. Okay. More to come on that later.
Okay, so are there any super memorable moments that you take to heart that you want people to know you really stand for, and it shows what your brand is?
Yeah. That's, we'll keep it short and sweet. We could talk about that probably for the next week, but Tam, do you want to start us out?
Yeah, I would say, I guess, keeping it kind of anonymous from the girls, although a lot of them do share, the messages that I get from our clients who come and the ways that Be Present is impacting their life. We definitely hear from people not only about physically losing weight and feeling better and sleeping better and having more confidence, but we hear about like coming to Be Present gave me the courage to quit this job that I've hated for 10 years, but I've never felt worthy enough to leave. People deciding that they're going to take on a big, kind of a big obstacle that has been holding them back. They're going to go for it. They're going to tackle it. Things like that. The stories, the personal stories that come to us from the women who come to our classes, for sure. That is hands down for me the number one most memorable.
Yes. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. So do you think that your why has changed since you started Be Present?
That's a good question. For me personally, I don't know that it has. Our why from the very beginning was never about finances or being a profit giant. Our belief has always been that if we continue to invest in people and love on them and encourage them and be a bright spot in every community that we're in, that revenue and profit on all those other things, those will follow. And so our why has always been to help change the hearts and minds and then physical bodies of the communities that we're in. And I would say, at least for me, that we're still there.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on your end?
Yeah, no, and we always are reviewing kind of our why. Keeping the why central is helpful because it's hard to run a business and you work a lot. And if you don't have a good, strong why, then you can kind of feel like, why am I doing this? And so, yeah, the why has stayed the same for me since the beginning.
Yeah, great question.
Okay, and then obviously you mentioned that the studio was built and designed specifically like with the woman's body in mind, but do you offer anything for men or children?
Yeah, so everybody and anybody is always welcome to come in the studio, but it definitely is more built and wired, as you had mentioned, for women versus men. I do jump in there usually at least once or twice a week, and it's one of the most challenging workouts I've ever done. We do offer different programs for kids. For example, coming up this summer, we have something called Fit Kids, where it's just a fun, healthy environment for kids to come and have different activities to get some exercise in, and it's taught by women who are bartenders or instructors, and they also happen to be school teachers too, and so they're used to working with kids, and they're really phenomenal with kids. And then Tammy has something she wants to share too.
Yeah, we have mommy and me classes sometimes as well, so the kids get to come with their parent. We've had fit families too, where moms and dads can come. Now, it is predominantly women. However, I will say that the men who come, they get crazy results. We have a few brave men. I mean, it is, I think it takes bravery to come into a room with all these women, but the guys, they get slaughtered. And I think that's where they feel a little bit like their pride, if they're not confident enough, that can feel humiliating because it's hard. And these women are right around them rocking it. So yeah, Bryan's always sore for days when he comes and does our workout. So it's really not, in my opinion, I always tell Bryan this, I think that it's great for guys too. It's just that they may not feel as successful because it's hard, it's challenging.
Okay, and then so we know you have the location, the original one in Granger, and then now you have one in Fishers, but do you plan to expand to any more locations, or do you want to remain more small for like that community feel?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure that out. I think as of today that we certainly see ourselves staying smaller. I don't know that I necessarily see us having hundreds of locations, across the country or across the world. That can certainly always change. Tammy and I have a heart for people, and so the bigger you get, the more control you have to give up, and we're not opposed to that by any means, but the way that we do things, there's a ton of training, and it's very time consuming, and so we don't operate as like a franchise. I'll just throw like a Subway or a McDonald's where it's just all about systems. We certainly have systems, but we're more about the heart, and it takes a lot longer to train the heart than it does just to put people in places to, run a system. So it prevents us a little bit from, growing rapidly and quickly. And from my standpoint, I'm okay with that. Any thoughts on your end?
Yeah, so we have had a lot of people ask us if we will open up locations because like in other places, because a lot of our clients will move and they really want to be present there. And so we've even had people throwing money our way, like wanting us to use their money to open up locations, but we've decided not to go that route. We really wanted to have a great solid base for studio number 1 before we even entertained a studio number 2. And so now that we are in the working model of having 2 studios, we are seeing that it takes time to develop that community. So like Bryan said, just it won't be for rapid growth, but I don't think that either one of us would say we are not opposed. We're not just totally opposed to having more studios. It would just have to be the right fit and the right timing, and still keep in line with our brand of who we are.
Okay, so I guess that moves into the next question I have is where do you see Be Present in the next year, 5 years, 10 years? I mean, I know you answered it a little bit, but is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge because how we plan is we plan 12 months out and we never go beyond 12 months. And part of the reason we do that is that so much changes, on a daily basis, that it's really hard to have a 5 or 10-year vision. And so at the end of every year, we plan the next upcoming year. And at the end of that year, as we had mentioned earlier, faith is important to us. And so we spend time just reflecting on, what's the next best step for the Be Present Studio community and culture. And so, for this upcoming year, what I can share is that we plan to continue to grow both our studios in Granger and Fishers, and continue to invest in our teams and also our clients. And we're constantly changing our offerings. That way there's always fresh content and classes for our clients. That's one thing you had asked earlier, what separates you. A lot of workouts out there, it's a system that somebody would go to the training, they would memorize it, and then they would bring it back to a studio or a gym, and they just repeat. It's like kind of robots, people just operating as robots, memorizing something. And then if you're a client of that place, that same workout day in and day out gets old really quick. And we just made the commitment to one another, to our studio and community, that we would always bring fresh content. So we're always kind of just creating new types of classes, and that's really important. It looks like Tam has something.
Yeah, and so when thinking about the future, as Bryan said, we don't go beyond the year. It's funny because when we first graduated from college, we would have thought like, okay, 5-year, 10-year, but really life tends to not really play out like that. And it can also be limiting too. And so just in this last year, something came up that wasn't even in the plan, that we hadn't even thought through, but we created this whole new thing called She Sweats Truth, that is a workout with a Bible study, and it's being run through Be Present Studio right now. However, I kind of have a gut feeling that it might become its own standalone company or brand. So that's something that I don't know how it's going to evolve. Right now, I'm just taking the one next step, and I've been leading that at both locations, and it's been going really well, and there's been a lot of interest in it. So I'm excited to see. I think there will be something in the future with that too. And I think I'll be taking women on mission trips. So I think there's a whole new element out there of things that we're going to be doing, a whole nother umbrella.
Awesome. Okay. And then, so has Be Present won any business awards or been featured on any media outlets?
Go for it, Sugar.
Yeah, so in terms of awards, none that I can think of off the top of my head.
Let's tell them how that works, though. Okay. So basically in our area, what we've seen is that in order to have awards, like, you have to enroll yourself into a contest. And I've seen some of those contests, and I've asked Bryan, do we want to put ourselves in the hat for this? And he has always said no. He just has not wanted to do that. So it's just kind of it's a little bit of a game. So, we've not entered ourselves into those contests. But we have definitely been on the media quite a bit. We've been in the news a lot. We've done some really cool makeover type of things. I don't know, makeover is not a good word. What did we call that? Where we've done a bar beauty spotlight or something, where we've basically had women in a community that they can put their name in the hat, and we choose someone at random that we then give them free classes, free wellness coaching. Some of them have gone to a dermatologist, a dentist, and so the news have come and followed them, like follow these women to see their journey. We've also had the news come out to just see how we do things differently, how we do mind, body, spirit. We've been in the newspaper quite a few times as well.
And then also, probably the last thing to wrap up is, in both markets that we're in, we've been on just the different local TV stations. When we launched in Fishers, one of the more popular stations down there, Tammy went on and kind of did a showcase of who we are, what we're about, actually led the newscaster through a workout for a few minutes, and it was a lot of fun. So awards, no, but definitely a lot of media exposure.
Okay, awesome. And then my last question is, how would you say that Be Present Studio impacts the environment? This could be the type of environment you foster inside the studio, or even how the studio impacts the environment around you.
Sure. You want to go, or do you want? No, I'll go ahead. Okay, so within, I would say now, is it okay? I kind of interpret that as talking about the community that we've created. Are you
Yeah,
talking
you can
more?
talk about whatever environment means to you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I would say that environments are so crucial, and I know a lot of people are like wanting to be in the environment that Bryan and I are in right now because it's sunny and warm, and back at home it is cold and snowy. Why do they care? Because environment matters, right? It does matter. And so when it comes to working out, and especially for women in a group setting, a lot of people feel immediately uncomfortable. They might break out in hives, honestly. Like, some women are so anxious about putting themselves out in the public that they will avoid working out for years and years just due to the fear. And so that's part of our goal with our social media, is to help them to see what type of a community and an environment we've created, so that everyone feels welcome and everyone feels comfortable when they walk in those doors. Even though we are going to challenge them and we're going to get them out of their comfort zones, it's not going to be based on being judged or getting snarky looks or feeling like they don't fit in. No, that our environment is very much, you belong here. Everyone is welcome here. Sweetheart?
I think the other part, at least from my standpoint, when I heard the word environment, I think about the word community, but also culture, and every culture has its own language. And if you come into the Be Present studio, both in Granger and Fishers, you'll find that we have our own language, kind of our own verbiage that we use. Mm-hmm. We call our clients bar beauties, and
or bar duties.
Yeah, or for the men, bar duties. And so we kind of have our own language that we speak, and I think people really treasure that, and it makes them feel more respected and loved, and it just has more of a
part of
kind of an authentic feel versus just a facade that we see so often in this world.
All right, those are all my questions. So thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and do this with me while you're on your retreat.
You are welcome. I hope it helps.
Yeah,
Thank
you. Have a great rest of your day.